So I saw a meme floating around on social media of this packed house in Atlanta, Georgia, and it said, no, this is not a Barack Obama rally from 2008. This is Kamala Harris in Atlanta, Georgia in 2024. And when I sat down and watched her speech in Atlanta, I've never been more fired up after seeing it, because that is the type of energy we've so desperately needed for the longest time. It is so good to finally see our side of the aisle on the offense and bringing it to Donald Trump. We're so tired of him being a bully. We're so tired of him talking a big game and never backing it up with any real action or any real ideas to help fix the problems, no real solutions. We're so sick of his same old rhetoric. We're so sick of hearing him run down this country on a daily basis. And to hear Vice President Kamala Harris stand up and give it back to him and take it to school, folks, it's worth the price of admission. I'm going to play you a couple of clips here. This first one, she's talking about the border and how, as a former prosecutor, I prosecuted people. Donald Trump just talks about it. Take a look.
I walked underground tunnels between the United States and Mexico on that border with law enforcement officers. I went after transnational gangs, drug cartels, and human traffickers that came into our country illegally. I prosecuted them in case after case, and I won. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
See, that's one of the main reasons why Donald Trump does not appeal to me, because I can see that he's talking a big game. I can see that he's full of a lot of hot air, but I can also see that he never actually does anything to back up what it is that he's saying. Everyone that's ever worked around Donald Trump in government talks about how he's completely clueless, how he does not know how to fix the problems, and how it's complete and total chaos behind the scenes. That's why he needs immunity in order to be able to do his job, because he doesn't know how to do his job within the system of our government. But Vice President Harris keeps going here, and it just gets better. Take a look.
Our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down. Tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. Which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem.
You see, folks, here's another example of how both sides are not the same. We actually want to fix the problems. We want to fix the problems and move past them. Think about it. Donald Trump has been talking about immigration ever since he came down the escalator, talking about building a wall, talking about how immigrants coming across the border is the biggest problem we face. That's the biggest enemy we have. It is the cause of every problem we have, and he's never fixed it. Why? Because he wants to continue to be able to talk about it. And even when a bill was laying on the table that even Republicans went, yeah, this is good, Trump said, vote it down because I have to have something to run on. We can't let Joe Biden have that victory. That tells you he does not care about this country, because if he truly cared about this country, he wouldn't care which side of the aisle got the credit. He would come out and congratulate them and say, well, hey, way to go, President Biden. Glad you finally fixed this problem. But he doesn't want to fix anything because he wants everything to be about him, and he wants to be able to continue to run on it because his whole platform is built off of fear and propaganda. And what's so hilarious is after talking about how he would debate anyone, any place, anytime, now he's already chickened out. He's already canceled the debate. And what I love about this next clip so much is Kamala just calls him right out on it, and I love it. Just take a look.
So the momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it. noticed. So last week, you may have seen, he pulled out of the debate in September he had previously agreed to. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about that. So he won't debate, but he and his running mate sure seem to have a lot to say about me. And by the way, don't you find some of their stuff to just be plain weird? Well, Donald, I do hope you'll reconsider to meet me on the debate stage. Because as the saying goes, if you've got something to say,
See, folks, that's how you stand up to a bully. You cannot stand up to a bully by cowering down. You cannot stand up to a bully by being meek and timid. You have to get in their face and you have to hit them where it hurts. And I promise you, when he heard those words about if you have something to say it to my face, I'm sure that it stung. But what will he do? He will just dig in his heels deeper, and he'll just continue to sling mud. And he's got a VP pick out there now that's slinging all kinds of mud, and they're just going to try to distract and muddy the water as much as they can, because they do not have the ideas and they do not have the solutions on how to fix our problems in this country. They don't ever want to fix the problems in our country because they want them to be part of their platform. That tells you everything you need to know about them. And something else that tells you everything you need to know about them is when they have rallies, they have people chanting stuff like, lock them up. That's what they love to sit and chant. They have their WWE catchphrases that's all about hate and all about cruelty. Meanwhile, on our side of the fence, we're energized and we're letting people know we're not going back. Take a look at this clip.
We are not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. That's right. And we are not going back because ours is a fight for the future.
Trump and his team is going out of their way to try to say, oh, Harris had to have a concert to draw people in. I don't need to have a concert, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to make every excuse in the world right now as to why she could draw a crowd like that and why there's so much energy behind a crowd like that. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly why that is. It's because we're so sick and tired of Donald Trump and his WWE circus act. And now we have a fresh start and we're on the offense for the first time in a long time. Every argument they were making against Joe Biden is now off the table. They have to come up with something else. And like we've talked about in previous videos, they don't know how to change it up. They don't know how to adapt to change. They don't know how to figure out how to fight a different fight if they're suddenly faced with a different opponent. All they know how to do is dig in their heels, create as much chaos as they can, and hope somehow that it sticks. But that's not what we're about. We're about real ideas and real solutions and moving this country forward. And for the longest time, I heard people on both sides of the aisle, to be fair, I heard people on both sides of the aisle saying things like, well, man, I'm just tired of Biden and Trump. I'm tired of the same old choices. I'm just tired of two old white dudes. You ain't got that argument to make anymore. That's not what we have. What we have is Vice President Kamala Harris, who's going to move this country forward. And she's going to be standing up for women. And she's going to be standing up for all of Americans. And folks, it's high time that this would be my biggest sales pitch for Vice President Harris right here. Let's be led by a woman and not a male ego. Let's just let a woman try it out and see how well it works, because we have been having to deal with the male ego this entire time. All of our lifetimes, that's what's been driving this country. Let's have a fresh start. Let's have a fresh set of ideas. And let's have a woman who's standing up for everybody and not some old man who's just out for himself.